make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Years ago, America passed the 28th Amendment,
virtually enslaving anyone with special abilities into government service, or forcing them to live as ordinary citizens.
With his team disbanded,
America's foremost protector and hero for a century had been betrayed by the very institution he swore to serve. Erased from its history books, his every exploit was covered up. Now, in a place called Little Bighorn, the greatest hero America has forgotten will come out of retirement to take down the very institution he once served,
assembling a new team of superpowered individuals wielding abilities never before witnessed.
In a country that has banned its heroes, it's time to root for the criminals. Let's start a new revolution.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I want to know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I want to know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey there, welcome to the Rabbit Hole. This is your host, T. Bunny, also known as Cooper. And I have a special guest on with me today. Welcome to the show, Mr. A.C. Pritchard. Welcome in.
How's it going, Coop?
Hey, doing all right. So today, I don't have a review. I'm holding the review for Thursday's show because it's going to be an Arrow product, and I'm going to have Luke Stone on. So it just seemed like an apropos time to do that.
Tell him I said hi. Tell him I said hi.
Yeah. I think you guys are familiar with each other. I think you may have crossed paths. We will definitely talk about that in a little while. See if we already got a couple comments over here. Let me check them out. Okay, Pritchard Pub. I think that's your show, right? Hell, don't forget. Yep.
That'd be me.
And got Bat Sauce. Beep beep. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey.
All right, welcome to the rabbit hole, my friend. All right. Well, today the topic we're going to talk about is the mainstream doomed? Okay. Now it seems a little dramatic. So I have the appropriate clip. So here you go.
Let's. Yes, sir. That was quite appropriate. There's many appropriate clips, in fact. I just saw even some of the more mainstream YouTube channels are discussing this topic even. I saw just the other day, the Film Theorist has a very recent video about is Star Wars dead? And they have that meme with the Grim Reaper walking door to door.
Yeah.
You know, you got Marvel, you know, Star Wars.
Tapping on the door and then goes in and there's a blood pool underneath you.
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody's waking up to it. It's the decentralization of our entertainment. So,
yep. Well, you know, the rabbit is out of the bag. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, and the problem that they have is that they are still going off the model of when they had control of all media, all the avenues of information, and basically people couldn't compare notes anymore. You know, and they're doing something new right now, which I didn't see before. The new trick is they're accusing the negative reviews of being review bombing.
Yes.
Now they've kind of toyed with that before, but they hadn't really gone all in on it. But now there's like somebody did a check on articles, and there's like over 136 articles on review bombing.
Yeah.
And basically, I think what they're going to do is what they Captain Marvel, when Captain Marvel's reviews started going south, they suspended reviews for a little while. And guess the CEO of Rotten Tomatoes, guess who he worked for?
BlackRock.
Disney.
Close.
Same thing.
Same thing. Same thing. Yeah.
You know, Disney's BlackRock sock puppet at this point anyway.
Yeah.
All right, Motor Rising. Hey, welcome. Yep. You got a response, and this is the mainstream doom. The answer is yes. Stream over. Yeah. Well, yeah. We're going to try to stretch it a little longer. A little longer.
We can get into some nuances and maybe some projections and stuff. And you know, it actually isn't all doom and gloom. Like I said, it's decentralization. It's not death.
No, it's not quite doom and gloom. Well, it is for certain aspects.
Yes.
Now, I wrote this tweet. I kind of had a lengthy tweet last night. Let me go ahead and read it. Okay. So my tweet is pretty much, we need to walk away from the mainstream. Okay. So say, for instance, you come home one day and you find your locks changed on the house that you built and maintained. Someone cracks the door and tells you that they are the caretakers now. Your home is no longer yours. Your kids, whom you love, are going to start openly hating you. And there will be parties that you are not invited to where things that you don't believe in will be flaunted and praised. But you are expected to pay the bills or you are a bad person. They know you built this house and you love those kids, but you will never again have any control over what happens to them. And so do you put up with watching them desecrate your house and warp your kids and still be called names? Or you walk away, be called names anyway, but no longer finance the corruption and destruction of what you held dear by someone sneering at you the whole entire time? The answer is pretty clear to me.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. Hail to Wrangler and Crucial Byra again says what happened to the Russian bot. Byrab says what happened to the Russian bots. I mean, that's so true. And and your tweet makes a good point too. Like, that's the thing, and like this
Mhm.
kind of equates to some other topics too, but like a lot of people really should be kind of viewing it like their home or their space.
Mhm.
But I mean, like, I know we technically own our homes, but really we don't. Like, a lot of us are renters, right? We're just kind of, it's just our space. So
Right.
it's this, I think your tweet holds up still, regardless, either context.
Well,
But
we
yeah,
don't
like,
we don't like officially own these IPs.
no,
You know,
but
we don't, and I mean, they told us, they made sure we knew that we don't own it, right?
yes.
And but at the same time, we owned it in other ways. You know, with all the fan fiction, with all the art, with all the works that were done by the fandom, you know, and all the shows that were like talking about Star Wars and stuff nonstop and keeping it alive.
Advertising.
Yeah, advertising, whole ecosystem. They bought the toys. They
Yep.
supported the novels.
That's what I was just gonna say. How about the big one, signing their paychecks? How about that one?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And okay, that happens. Isn't it called divorce? Yes, it is called divorce. It definitely is called divorce. And well, but you know, there was like this there was this contract that was made between these IPs, the people who own these IPs and created the content, and the fandom. And that is, as long as you honor us and give us something that we recognize as the IP, we will support you. You know, I mean, even when George came out with the prequel trilogy, and people weren't 100% on board with it, they didn't, you know, enjoy it like they did the first trilogy, and maybe it couldn't hold up to that. You know, the first trilogy is very legendary, but there's still things about it that they liked, and they still supported it. They bought the toys, they bought the novelizations. When the cartoons came along, they supported those, and and basically, because it all felt like Star Wars, and there's a whole entire universe of novels called the EU, the extended universe, that people enjoyed, and a lot of people's headcanon became the EU. You know, that the Solo twins, you know, Jason and Jaina, you know, what happened with them? Like this great epic happened with them. You know, Luke's son Anakin and his wife Jade.
The Adventures of Luke. Also,
right, exactly. Right.
You know, just it keeps going. It keeps going. You know what I mean? Like,
but the first thing that Kathleen Kennedy did when she came through the door is declare all that non-canon anymore,
and then steal from it in the end with like the Palpatine clones, right?
Exactly. And not only that, but she bitched and griped about, well, what do you expect? We didn't have any material to work from.
You got only 6 movies, no big deal. I mean, that's plenty.
And like, you know, billions of dollars worth of novelization, you know, which was approved by Lucasfilm, by the way. George's people, he actually had a staff that reviewed EU submissions and agreed to what was canon, what wasn't canon.
So right off the bat, you're alienating a bunch of professionals in the Star Wars craft that were hired by the dude who invented Star Wars.
Exactly.
Created it.
And oh, by the way, you had the trilogy that was created by Matthew. Was it Matthew Vaughn? Was it?
I can't remember. I'm not like a Star Wars scholar. Don't.
I got you. Yeah. But you already had a trilogy just sitting there, and George has let it slide over the years that he had the next trilogy actually scripted, and KK had it in her hands, and she threw it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, so basically that's
what a mess, dude.
That I'm just talking. That's just Star Wars.
Yeah, one thing.
This has happened everywhere. Okay, we won't even talk about Doctor Who because Gobby, my buddy Gobby in England, will probably,
Yeah. At this point, you can just. At this point, you can just name. You can just name IPs like, you know,
throw a dart.
Yeah, Halo. Yeah, throw a dart, like you said. Just put up all your nerd posters and just toss a dart. There's probably a shitty IP of it made.
Yep.
Shout outs to Wrangler in the chat. He's another YouTuber.
Hey. Yeah.
He loves Metroid and Samus Aran. Just wait.
Oh, who was a female, by the way?
And they'll probably make her male in the future just to be edgy and
Yeah.
fanbait.
Well, she'll probably be trans. I'm thinking.
Yeah, exactly. She's clearly androgynous with the armor.
Rutu received some audience scores on Star Wars. Yep.
They removed it. It's topical.
Lucas made the prequels that nuked the whole franchise. No, it did not. It did not at all. I'm pretty sure
it wasn't a nuke. The prequels. I was a kid, so that let a generation grow up with Star Wars, and it let the parents relive that, even though the parents weren't fully on board with some of the changes Luke was making, George was making. At the same time, their kids were loving it and getting into it. And then here's a little kid on screen, right? Anakin, you get to watch him grow up. Like, holy shit. And they even got the third movie to come out like when the ages kind of made sense, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think it was that bad in hindsight, comparing it to what we know can be the case, which is Weekend at Bernie's with the corpse of the IP. Right.
Nope, not happening. Folks try to push that transvestite narrative, but Sakamoto squashed that one. Yeah.
Sick based. Nintendo will not stand for that most of the time because Japan.
Right. So yeah, they're trying to invade Japan, but Japan's not allowing it to happen this time.
They're smarter. Yeah, they're smarter than that. Yeah. No, well, we need to value Japan.
We do. We honestly do. Because Japan is under attack right now. And any product that's coming from Japan back into the United States has to go through an apparatus to get it translated and repackaged for American audiences. And like people like Rooster Teeth. And then they were like corrupting it when it came back through and putting woke stuff into it. And Japan was like, no, we're not going to work with you anymore.
Good.
And
that's awesome.
So Rooster Teeth's closing their doors, and that's the reason why.
Really, Rooster Teeth of all things. That's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. They were bragging about it. Marchie, Jamie Marchie, of the Kick Vic, fame. She was actually bragging that what they were doing to the translations as they came back in.
They brag. That's what pisses people off, dude. Because if you were just all about the things that you're actually talking about, like with diversity, stuff like that, if these were honest mistakes, just because if they were honest, they're not necessarily a mistake. It would just be just a transgression. But honest people would listen.
Going back to my tweet, this is deliberate.
Exactly.
They're basically telling us we have control of it now. Look at us. We have your IP now. Yes. We're in control of your IP now. Pay attention.
We're the captain.
We're the captain now. And not only that, but we're going to do stuff to it that you don't like, and we know you don't like it, and you're gonna absorb it anyway because you have to.
And your kids.
And we're coming for your kids. Remember that gay men's chorus? I've heard the whole entire song, and it's sinister as hell.
What about the Disney executives? Her own words are not so secret gay agenda. What about
not so secret
Bob
gay
Iger? Bob Iger pointing out his own company. He's like, they got too caught up in the fucking politics, and that was the reason. Like, no, it's too little, too late, Bob Iger.
Oh yeah,
Bobby boy, you were there. This is kind of your idea. This is kind of your idea too, buddy. You can't.
Oh, it's all on him.
Yeah.
Him balls Harry. I'm not sure what.
I agree.
Okay.
Mike.
All right. Decentralized entertainment's already here. Masses haven't understood that yet. Dinosaur media is still fossilizing. Yep. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm dealing with Star Wars fans frothing at the mouth of rage for 2 weeks because I dare suggest stop hate watching The Acolyte. They believe they're rebelling by watching every episode. We'll talk about that too.
Clutching my pearls.
Oh no! BlackRock just bought a big manga distributor. Yep, that's happening. That's happening. They said that Samus has as much a chance of showing up on a PlayStation as she does of being trans.
Sick. Dude, they said that? That's really based if they actually said that.
That is definitely based because Nintendo hates PlayStation.
Yeah.
They don't have a mine and they don't have yours. I said it before. I'll say it again. Established Hollywood can't have Haley.
No.
Right. Yep. Disney has killed Star Wars, gutting it like a fish, leaving the carcass on the ground to rot in the sun. Yep. It's a little graphic. It's a little graphic, Wookie, but appreciate it. Nice images there. Japan doesn't mess around. Look at Assassin's Creed. The gamers are still peeved over that. They're not peeved over that. They are not buying it.
They rejected it outright.
They rejected it.
We deny it. Goodbye.
Japan is like 23rd down the list of like early buying. You know, the early buys, which is a good indicator of if it's going to fly. And there's like everything above it is like tier 2. They're not tier 3. Yeah. And so Japan has completely said Yasuke, no way. Okay.
Yeah.
And so who didn't see that coming, right? They'll never stop hate watching and bitching, right?
Yeah.
Well,
and some of them, some of us, it's like part of us, right? Like the people who grew up with it and then grew up with it again when their kids grew up with it. So like, I get why, but like, yeah, we need to stop and just like stop giving them the numbers.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, everything's about algorithm, okay? Everything is about algorithm, okay? There's a reason why these guys are being pushed in the algorithm. And it's because the only way that you get pushed in the algorithm from this god-awful platform, YouTube, that we're on, not Rumble, but YouTube. The only way that YouTube will push you in any way, shape, or form is if what you're doing is beneficial to somebody who is paying the money.
Right.
Okay. And so you got to ask a question. Why are these hate watchers numbers going through the roof? Why are they being pushed by YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they are benefiting somebody that is a customer of YouTube. Okay.
Through raw numbers too. I think that's what it is. A lot of it. I mean, there's probably, I mean, once you get to a certain point, you are just straight up a partner with YouTube, right? Mr. Beast, right? He is Mr. Beast, but he's also YouTube itself because of the sheer success that he has. So yeah, I think just the raw numbers that they initially pull in, they get that secondary boost of YouTube numbers because they're benefiting from that initial numbers. So and then that encourages the whole ecosystem to just keep going round and round. Like watch more, make your show more about that. That's like kind of what it goes. That's what YouTube's trying to push them to do. And I think a lot of times the YouTubers themselves don't even realize what's happening there.
Well, I think they do that. They just they've kind of like made a contract with themselves that as long. I saw where Geeks and Gamers, whatever the guy's name is, the guy that D-Day Cobra, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He was basically bragging on Friday Night Tights. You know, the last time I bothered watching. I think it skipped while I was listening to YouTube at work. I think it skipped on Friday Night Tights. It keeps doing that.
Yep.
Why does it keeps pushing it every time? Every time it switches to something else, and I'm not there to you know.
And it's long form content too, so you get they get the watch hours. Yeah.
Well, I was hearing them like brag about. Well, we're the reason why everybody knows that this stuff is shit. You know,
not
we're the reason why. You know, and
loudest voice, D-Day, love you, buddy. D-Day Cobra, love you, buddy. 199, but. You're a loud voice, a powerful resource, but not the sole reason.
No,
I mean
the reason why they know it's shit is because it's shit.
Yes, and you're brave enough to talk about it. I'll even call you brave. You know, like you guys were one of the first ones. You know, it's whatever, but not the only.
I think basically you live long enough to become the part of the problem. You know.
Yeah,
and I think basically that's part of the issue now. Hate watching doesn't benefit Disney. The numbers show that hate watching has like zero impact. Okay, well,
that's interesting. That's interesting as hell.
Engagement is helpful for these things.
We'll get into that.
If you watch the videos, I don't mind being blamed. There you go. But if you watch the videos, though, who's advertised on those videos? Jeremy, right? Right.
Yeah.
But who's advertised on those videos? back when they were like going after what's her name, the one-legged chick, Echo. Guess what? They were advertising Echo like nonstop, and I was just I don't know. I was still kind of like in hate watching back then. You know, watching that kind of thing go. And I every time I'd look up, I'd get an advertisement for Echo. You know, because I wasn't. And it just I was like, you know, I guess who gets the engagement that counts as engagement for Disney, which pushes the algorithm, which pushes Disney stuff, you know. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and you have to acknowledge the fact that it's like Knight, you're right. We don't need them to tell us anything. That's for sure.
No,
but like the hate watch, the numbers. I mean, like Bats makes a good point.
Yeah.
Because what it is it's spreading awareness of how shitty it is. And actually that causes more people to reject it, which leaves more people to go leave reviews.
Well, I think it tells them why it's shitty. Because people know it's shitty.
That's
but
right.
I think they're educating people as the reality of ESG and educating them on what a DEI is. And and I think they're playing a valuable part in that. Okay.
But the numbers are the numbers still, unfortunately. The hate watch, they're still going to get 1 million views or whatever. That's still 1 million views, even if everybody hates them. If 90 million, or like if like most of that million views or whatever is people that hate them, they can still point at that arbitrarily and gaslight everybody and say, we got 1 million people who love it. And this is just like a small group of people over here who, oh, did you know they're racists too? Right.
I got a short clip from Dave Callum, who's one of the OGs, and Dave's actually moved on from like modern IPs or the IPs that we all used to love, and he's kind of like started pushing. We need to build our own ecosystem. We need to move on, and he had a rant that I think that he kind of like gave a great conclusion to this. So let's play this right quick.
But I also don't like this RIP, hashtag thing for your favorite franchise. It's important to differentiate the modern woke versions of these shows and films from the original versions of them. Star Wars, Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, whatever it is. They're just iconic, eternal, legendary stories and works of fiction and cinema that can never be sullied by whatever, social engineering nonsense is pushed today. The original versions, the pre-woke versions, that's what we cherish and hold on to, and they can't destroy those institutions. Now, to move on to the other thing I often talk about in this conversation, we do, I think, have an obligation to create the new pop culture ourselves, to tell the kinds of stories we would prefer to see in entertainment. And indie authors and indie filmmakers are critical to this. Now, having said that, it is important that our works don't get too mired in being reactionary and therefore anti-woke. So I think the best way to kick against the establishment is not to recognize its power. A lot of comedians have also reached this conclusion. So anti-woke jokes can be funny and everything, but they give too much credence and power to woke itself. By mocking it constantly, it only serves to amplify its messaging and legitimize the influence and talking points and power that it currently holds on society. So the best way to move forward with writing and producing good fiction is to start with new foundations. So there are, of course, good stories to tell that can be allegories for what we're experiencing right now, socially and culturally and politically. But to make your work a kind of crusade against the current entertainment system is to become somewhat burdened and saddled with it, which only serves to underline how pervasive it is. But to prove that woke is not all-powerful and influential in our cultural stories is to tell entirely new stories that are completely devoid of it. So being anti-woke is one thing, being entirely unwoke is quite different. So to ignore it and tell politically neutral stories that don't comment or critique or even satirize our current age or recognize the existence of woke is to prove that it's possible to contribute to culture without the presence of woke. So woke won't last forever. It doesn't have a timeless universal appeal. It doesn't speak to something, universal and innate within the human condition. It can only exist if it's propped up by big money and force-fed into the culture. So if you take all that away, it will disappear. It can't last by itself. But stories that are universal and timeless, they have, and of course will last, and will inspire people for centuries. Woke has attempted to embed itself in so many institutions and so many aspects of life. But if something is created that it cannot consume, that it cannot assimilate, well then, it has met not just an immovable force, and I would say not just its match, but its demise.
I can't say it better than that. I really can't. Okay, let me get caught up over here.
That was very well said, and I do have to say, while you're getting ready to catch up there, it reminds me of the music scene of my music days. Bands would latch onto trends and then die with the trend, and I think that's kind of part of what he's getting at. Is like, he's not saying it's necessarily bad to be completely against it, but to make it like an idea or like your identity, to make it your identity. Well, then your identity is going to die when the need for this no longer has interest to people.
Well, the bubble is about to burst on this, which is why I really hope these guys like Nerdrotic, because I like Gary. I really like Gary Buckler and the guys. And I hope they understand that if we don't pivot and start talking about what's next, if we don't like start looking for the ecosystem, the independent ecosystem that's starting to find its legs right now, and outside of they only acknowledge Ripa, young Ripa, which it is what it is. The guy's got more money than God right now, so I mean it's easy to put. But there is other people outside of Ripa, and you don't even have to go to EVS and his group, okay? I mean,
even more.
They're just like the tip of the iceberg for what's out there, and I'm not talking about ex-pros that have left the mainstream. I'm talking about people that have never had their voices heard, that have never even darkened the door of the mainstream. Never gotten their foot in the door. That are telling incredible stories that are like very unique, and I think are going to be the next wave. And the mainstream pros, that's not discounting them and their years and years of experience, but unless you start talking about what's next, you're going to basically get stuck in the permanent now, and when now moves on to tomorrow, you're going to get caught into the purge.
Right.
And so that is my that's my warning. Okay. I think Acolyte is like the break-in strain for all of this crap. And from here on out, I think because more normies have discovered, because Acolyte is so horrible and Leslie Headland is such an awful person.
Their press campaign really didn't help. Oh my goodness.
And the fact that they went double down on this. There was like 2016 times 10. 2016's Ghostbusters times 10. What they've done. They went completely around the bend this time. And they spent $180 million on that damn show. That is 31 Godzilla minus ones.
Yep.
31 of an what should have been an Oscar contender in any day that was sane. And so it is what it is.
When I shared the screenshot of the audience score being mysteriously gone, which just like a couple weeks ago, some random idiot on the internet was trying to tell me that they didn't remove the audience score or hide reviews from Rings of Power when that happened.
Right.
And then so when I saw this, I was like, oh, look at that. So I shared it, and I was just like, you get what you pay for, which in this case is like $22 million.
Well, the CEO of Rotten Tomatoes happens to formerly work for Disney.
Uh-oh. Really?
W-2s. Yeah.
Why? I don't know why. Why is there even a hide review? Why is there even a hide button?
And by the way, so did Fandango.
Oh.
Fandango
it's all very
is owned by Disney.
It's all very incestuous. Yeah.
And so anyway, okay, so is bat sauce allowed to be right? I'm not allowed. I am. And HP Hunter says, of course you are. You said based, right?
Yep. Well, I was saying based to the video too.
Oh, okay. It's a burden, honestly. Yeah, there you go.
Being right.
A legend in his own mind. There you go. The process to see the decentralization comes in phases. First you complain, then you whine, then you look for new, then you wonder why others are still whining.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, that's true. You got to let the others get through their. Yeah.
Well, it's the stages of grief, right?
Yes, dude. Yeah, dude.
And a lot of us have moved on. Grieving and
mourning the death of culture and like aspects of yourself, because like identity, we keep bringing that up. Like some people just really cannot stop complaining because they grew up with Luke, and this is just so offensive. And like I identify with him, and like
and you still have Luke. You still have the memories of Luke.
Luke is still there. Yeah,
Luke is still there.
Be that Luke. Yeah. Be that Luke.
Just enjoy the Luke that we had. And just mourn him. Just mourn him like just watch an old movie. This is an old family movie of relatives that have passed, and just mourn them and accept that they're gone, and just move on.
And then maybe go buy an indie comic that's like sci-fi with lightsabers, and then see if you can find a new Luke.
There you go.
For your son or whatever,
It reminds me of when bands would latch on to trends, entire band dies with the trend, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And the bad thing about it is, some of these like hair metal bands put out their best work after they no longer were popular. There's some really incredible albums that were put out by hair metal bands, but nobody would even pay attention to them. Uncle Tom's Cabin by Warrant, which became Cherry Pie.
Yeah.
But the very next album that they did, Generations, I can't remember what the name of the next album was, but the next album was like really, really good. But they come into the office, and instead of their album on the wall, they saw Alice in Chains and dirt. So they knew that the worm had turned, but they never could get past Cherry Pie. Poor Janie, Janie Lynn, the leader or the lead singer. He never got over that. Anyway,
typecasting, right? Basically.
Oh yeah,
you're stuck with it.
Oh yeah. There's some incredible acts that were like a part of disco, that just went away. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm late. Hey, Evelyn Music. And let me see. Maybe some of all of LA can mitigate that, preserve it, youthful glow. He's still talking about there's still filleting bats here.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see if I skip past the bat sauce filleting and
the bat sauce filleting.
Okay. Yeah. Unless you adapt, you'll go extinct. Correct.
Yep.
Correct. It's like I am the next wave. I am the next wave. Damn it. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, sir.
Yes.
You are. You are. We all are.
So this is my wife here, Pritchard Pub. That's why I switched to AC Pritchard. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's like 70 Ernest Bats.
Yeah. They're going back and forth about Ernest because on Iron Seas, my other show, we vote for a movie every week and talk about it with writing and culture and stuff. And
my sister is a huge Ernest T. Bass fan. Jeez.
So you get it. Okay, so what ended up happening is we all were trying to pick stinkers, and Ernest won, and Evely loves it. He wasn't picking a stinker; he was just picking a movie he loved. And
Ernest Goes to Camp
that's what we watched.
I watched that on loop for like a summer, man. All they got is it's the fans' fault. In other words, they got nothing valid. Right. Let me see. So Eric is listening while working. Hey, Eric, thank you for listening 2 minutes.
Cheers, Eric.
Right. You can't. Luke is with us in spirit. Yes, he is. My 8-year-old's finding Star Wars for the first time. It's been fun going back. Yeah. There's plenty. back there. The EU is still out there, and it's still an incredible book series. You don't even have to look at the High Republic. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't even acknowledge exist.
Yeah.
Anyway, Evelyn Music, I mentioned my new haul video, AC Pritchard, a few others. Hey.
Ooh.
All right.
I'll check that out.
Anyway,
Buddy.
so my friend Frost Comics had a rant, and I tried to clip it, but it didn't quite clip. It wouldn't render in time. But he was talking about that the problem is there's this too big of a divide between the people producing the IPs and the people that are consuming it, or they're aiming it at for consumption. It's mainly because they are the people who first created this IPs that we've absorbed and that we've enjoyed, that basically created the pop culture. There were people with life experiences. A lot of them went to war, came back from war. A lot of that first generation Marvel were ex soldiers. Okay. And they had life experiences. They had wives and they had kids. They had, jobs outside of what they were doing, the art. And so what you have now is you have a whole generation that went to school for art, accrued a huge debt, because they went to school for something that's really not marketable. And they got all the communist indoctrination that is in, we know that is in the colleges. They're pretty open about it. And they come out of it. And first of all, they haven't had life experiences. They haven't had any kind of, they've been told that they're wonderful their entire lives. They're the participation ribbon generation. And if you're a person of color, they basically, all the bars have been lowered, to help you get over them. And
they
a
see
lot
color.
of
They see
exactly.
color, basically. Yeah.
And so basically they've had the way paved for them, but they've been told they're victims at the same time. So while they get the privileges of being basically preferred, that at the same time they have a victim narrative and a feeling of that I earned this in some way, shape, or form by my very existence. And so what happens is these people are so narcissistic and lack so much world knowledge that they think this is the way the world works. And so they're basically creating art from a very narrow point of view, aiming it at an audience that is basically them.
Right. And I gotta say really quick, if you're listening and you find any of this offensive, go ahead and let us know down in the chat, comment below, so we can all have a good laugh. Because if it applies to you, then do something about it. But if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Right? The number's never 0% and it's never 100%. You know what I mean?
No.
So I'm sure there's some people from college that actually do hold these strange communist viewpoints that aren't total pieces of dog crap. You know what I mean?
I have yet to meet anybody, but I'm sure they're out there.
I'm sure. Yeah. Just to be fair. Right.
Yeah.
But yes, you're on point. Continue. You're very on point.
I've only been alive 51 years. Maybe there are people out there that have dived headlong into communism and not become total,
some people have, the root word is community. I mean, a lot of times the most honest things are co-opted and manipulated by the most evil people, right? So I mean, for example, family is technically communist, but it works because everybody is family. You love each other, right? So it has to work, right?
Well, they never use family; they always use community.
Not good, because you don't have to love. You don't have to love your neighbor unless you're Christian, right? If you
well, community is more collectivist.
That's true,
because families are really not collectives. Families are basically you're born into them, or you're associated, but you're basically because you share like a last name or you share something like that. There's something indelible like blood between you that can't be broken.
So you have a vested interest in supporting each other and actually being a community, like the root word. Yeah. So some I could see some people being like, no, it's really good. It's really good. But it's unfortunately, the politicized term of it is pure evil, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because governments are not family. So, yeah.
No, no, they're not. But basically, so you see all these themes and stuff like that, and especially when the way they're attacking fans right now, and this is really, the degree of it. I mean, what they're doing is not unique because we've seen all this before, but the degree of it is unique because there's a tinge of desperation about it.
Yeah,
that I'm seeing. Basically, the Acolyte had to succeed. It had to succeed. They spent nearly 200 million on this turkey, which we knew 3 years ago when they started announcing it was going to be a turkey. Okay, first of all, Leslie Headland. Ooh, okay. Let's get Weinstein's pimp.
Yeah,
and,
I was just gonna say
right?
Weinstein's assistant.
Yeah, assistant, right? Yeah, okay. But basically, we knew this was going to be a turkey. Everybody saw this coming, right? But they kept reshooting, and evidently, there was somebody bragging. That the who was the girl? Who was the lady that played Starbuck on Battlestar Galactica?
I know who you're talking about. Are you talking about like the she like got a whole career? Did she go to the Mandalorian? Is that who you're talking about? That lady?
Yeah, that lady.
Yeah.
Well, she was Therese. I can't remember her name, but anyway, but she claimed that the catering bill on the Mandalorian was more than the budget on Battlestar Galactica.
Wow. What a base take. Thank you for letting us know that, because those are little details that the public really should know. I mean,
yeah, they're throwing money. They're throwing money around everywhere, and
decadence.
Yeah, the latest Captain America, the one with the Falcon cap, it's on its 4th reshoot. Okay, and Snow White, that one's over 300 million now. But Snow White with Rachel Zegler, Snow Brown or whatever you call it.
Zegler.
That one is on the 7th reshoot. They just closed their 3rd principal photography. That one is now over 500 million.
What are they going to do? Like, it's not about making money, bro. It's just about
it's not.
Control and vandalism, I think, is what it is. That's why all their characters are so obsessed with power.
Oh, they are.
Power is the only thing on their mind.
They have said in interviews that it's not about right or wrong. It's about who has the power and who has the strength to wield it. That's what Acolyte is about.
And they haven't, and they've clearly in these same interviews said it's not about making, like, basically it's not about making fans happy. Clearly, as they attack the fans, it's about reaching as many people as possible, which I believe is cult mentality. I believe some religions have it built into the religion to rule number 1, spread the religion, just like cancer. Right, that's cancer's number 1 rule, is to spread cancer.
It's also the number 1 rule of a virus.
Yes, so there you go.
There you go. And like a virus, it's a virus is a dead entity.
Doesn't matter how much money they spend, as long as the mission of the virus, the cancer, the whatever whatever.
Yeah, cancer is also a good concept. Stuff about minorities isn't 100% true. The publishing world does indeed treat them like tokens and second-class citizens. I have stories.
Yes.
Okay.
Herman does have stories. He has a lot of industry experience. He has shopped around major publishers and stuff and talked to agents, and he's been there. He's been there and done that. He's one of the elders in the indie scene that I respect very highly. So he knows.
Well, right now they're all about gender and sexuality, and so the persons of color is like so yesterday.
Yeah. I think what Herman. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
That's fine. I think what Herman's getting at is the idea of they will wield them, like the very act of saying
they're tokens. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Like they're a shield and they're the whip.
Right.
They're both. So
well, as long as they can throw racism around.
Exactly.
As long as they can throw racism around. Yeah.
You get the gay non-binary shield and then the trans person of color whip, and then
that's okay. Kamala Harris is there because she is such a good politician. Yeah.
Oh, clearly. Yeah. I mean,
clearly. Clearly.
Less of an approval rating than Biden even after the debates. Somehow.
There you go.
But
There you go. Somehow.
Somehow.
It's like that guy just pooped himself on the stage, but I'd still rather have him
I'd
than her.
still rather, yeah, dude. Oh, at least it's not female Palpatine. That's what everybody's getting at, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember, previous communism was wrong communism. I'm sure they finally got it right. Right? Yeah.
It's never been
tried.
properly implemented. Don't
No.
you know? It's
No,
never
it
been
hasn't.
practiced on a large scale. That's what they'll say.
Right.
It has. It has, and every time it's the same result. So.
Right. There you go. Oh no, Hedge is right. What did Hedge say?
He was talking about the industry stuff, I believe, with the
okay.
color. Yeah.
No problem.
Yep.
Okay. Fine, throw some money my way. LOL. That's the next
For real.
point. All the money goes to catering. Yep. And 5-star motels in London. It's on the sheets. They shot everything in London, and it's on the sheets that they stayed at the most expensive motels.
Yeah. And then the red wine fountains and stuff. You see that from like Twitter? Yeah.
Captain America's probably been Frankenstein together like Rise of Skywalker. Oh yeah. Oh, it is. And if they had let Bucky have the shield, they'd have a built-in narrative right there. I could have written that. I mean, it would have been a great movie. I could just write that right now. Tinhole hat moment. I'm guessing that BlackRock Vanguard treat Disney and the MSN as a propaganda department to the loss expected. Other courts make them money.
Yep.
But by the way, it's not their money. It's our money.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. At the end of the day,
it's our retirement money. Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Disney actually is not like it's very strange. It's an American company that has declared independence from American rule. So like I think it's like written in somewhere, and for some reason the government signed off on this. That the only
because of the 2008 banking crisis, and they bailed us out.
Okay. Yeah, they said that the only people they answer to is the crown or something like that.
Yeah.
We only answer to the crown. Okay, Disney. Okay, whatever, man. Whatever you want.
Yeah, his butt's been wiped, guys. Still more appealing than Kamala Harris. Anyway, All right. Kamala Harris about likable as a toe jam sandwich.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I think you're being insulting to toe jam, honestly.
I think you're
really?
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway.
I think toe jam is considerably less evil.
There you go. It is. Speaking of butt wiping, I'll be home soon. Attend to that child I heard in the background. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so essentially we just need to make the choice. We need to. Okay, we've gone through the stages of grief, and a lot of us have gotten to the stage where we've accepted that this is not coming back. Okay, right. Now the reason why I say that is hear me out. Is if they do a 180 and all this stuff, which they're not going to do because there's too much in place. There's too many activists in place that have no interest in success as long as the ideology is pushed. Yeah. But if they manage to right the ship, the trust has been broken.
Yep.
And it's like if Marvel Comics kicks Sama Amanat and her ilk out tomorrow, and and give them the marching papers, and bring in the reincarnated Stan Lee and all the greats, and they start producing comics again, well, which is not going to happen because it's impossible to happen. But even if even if people like Rob Liefeld came over, who's still got some goodwill, I guess, or Jim Lee came back over, or people that we recognize, some names that we respect, and they came back over and they started producing stuff again, there's a lot of people that are out of the habit. There's a lot of people that have moved on with their lives, and they just burned just about every bridge that you can burn, and they've crossed the Rubicon. The Rubicon has been crossed. Nobody's going to trust Doctor Who again. Nobody is going to trust Star Wars again. Nobody's going to trust any of these gigantic IPs. They're just not. You know, we're gone past the bend with this stuff, and there's no indication they're ever going to do a 180 because they're doubling down. Even with the numbers that they currently have, they're doubling down. And rather than say mea culpa, they're saying the fans are wrong. When you get to that point, that's fatal. Okay, there's no coming back from that. You start blaming your fans rather than saying, okay, you know what, we're the problem here. You know,
the people who are literally fanatics of a franchise, right? Like the lovers of the IP themselves are clearly the issue, right?
Yeah,
clearly they're the issue. No,
and you know, and there's something to be said. You know, like Noel Gallagher said that you can't chase trends. You have to just produce art and let the people come to it. And I agree with that at some point, but what they're producing is not art.
Yeah, it's there's a line where it's propaganda, or it's just
and they are clearly over that line. They are clearly over that line. And basically, even, you know, what he's talking about is producing art, and they're not producing art. What they're producing is worldview. They're producing them. They're reproducing themselves and spitting it out and saying, love us. And we don't like them.
Demanding.
We don't like these people. I'm not going to invite Leslie Headland to my birthday party. Okay.
I agree. And we were all very aware of the Weinstein stuff. Right off the bat.
Can suck a dick and jump off a cliff for all I care.
For real. Like, really, you're gonna hire Weinstein's assistant?
Yeah, let's hire Weinstein's assistant.
The nerve.
Right? Yeah, if KK died tomorrow, I mean, she'd be mourned by the mainstream, and they would call her the greatest producer ever, and just throw flowers at her. But I'm pretty sure that there would be celebrations all across this world.
Yeah.
I am fairly certain there'll be celebrations all across this world. And I'm pretty sure that Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead would probably go right back to the top of the charts. I'm fairly certain. I'm just saying. And the reason why is
there'd be metal covers of it. It would be crazy.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a great awesome. Metal cover. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that I think we need to move beyond, you know, what these guys are doing is just completely, totally rehashing this over and over and over again. And we know it's not coming back from where it's gone. Just
so, are you real quick? Are you familiar with the show Ancient Aliens?
Yeah,
they rehash their theories every single episode. Every single episode, they are rehashing and just driving that same point home over and over again. It's a meme now. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, right? So there is a tactic to what they're doing, because every new episode that they make could be somebody's first episode. So you need to drive home the main core tenets of what you believe, But I think what I'm starting to kind of see more is, I think they're kind of subtly kind of picking up, and when I say they, I mean like only the biggest ones, like Nerdrotic and like Critical Drinker for sure caught up on this.
Critical Drinker is probably the closest to it, I think. He's actually producing new content. He's got a movie that's coming out based off his book series, and he's going to release it on his channel. Sick. But yeah, it's becoming... I can't wait to see that. But that's go ahead.
I'll be all over that.
Oh yeah, I'm watching that day one. I hope it's good. He seems to know what he's talking about, so I'm hoping it's good.
What I was getting at though, really quick, is just like they need to. I feel like they need to get more into like reporting on the major sins, essentially, instead of like they need to try to come off like they're not complaining, and more like they're just reporting. They're updating everybody. Like, so here's a checklist of everything wrong. Boom, 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 boom. But I think there's so much heckling involved. Like maybe if somebody just had like a very formal, like, here's the information, that's messed up. This is messed up. Technically, that shouldn't be it. Thanks for watching. Next time, blah blah blah. No jokes, just bah.
Right.
It sounds kind of dry, but maybe that's what a lot of the people who are already done mourning need is just news, essentially.
Well, I actually heard the stream where I think Critical Drinker finally said goodbye to Star Wars. I mean, when he said, that's all I got, go away now. His voice cracked when he said "go away now," and I was like, I actually felt for him when I heard him say that. But since then, I've seen like a healthier turn back toward the comment on pop culture, but he doesn't like, he's not like dwelling on it and saying that they can change it now, and because these people that are in charge of it, they don't give a shit about the numbers. They don't give a shit about earning box office. They don't care about all these things, all this ecosystem like the theaters that they're destroying. They don't care. They got theirs.
Yeah.
That $180 million went to, Leslie Headland and her partner, staying in a 5-star motel in London and catering,
and then the actors, and then whatever was left over.
Mandela Stenberg, bless her little poor underprivileged,
she's like royalty. Get out of here.
Yeah, she's got $1 million dad. Her dad's a millionaire.
Yeah.
Bless her little heart.
So pressed.
She's trying to act like a gangster girl with her rap, and it's just like, all right, princess. Good on you. But
there's so much projection. I mean, like, I believe the title with that was like something about being bored with the discourse, and like that's where we're at. Is we're all very
bored with your discourse or something like that. And I was like,
we can map it all out. Actually, it's called fan baiting. It's taught in colleges. You are exposed. Just give us the IP we love. That's all we want. And like more to that, you were saying a lot of people have abandoned this. Yes, I think there's a number of people who will never come back to like Star Wars and stuff like that. But are you saying that old man drinker 50 years from now or whatever on his porch, he gets wind that there's a new Star Wars thing and it's nobody who is involved with any of this stuff that made him disillusioned, and it's going to be true to Lucas? That's the whole marketing. It's like the Lord of the Rings movies, essentially. I think he wouldn't get back into it.
I do say that if it goes away and is allowed to for people to miss it,
to fully die,
and they bring it back, but they bring it back. I say Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, good.
Who wanted that? Who wanted that movie? And who's like, why is this coming back? This movie.
But then it worked.
But it worked. Why? It worked because when you watch this movie, it's like it just left off for the other movie. And it was just like years down the road after that first movie, this moment in time. And if you watch it back to back, you really see how much how much they paid attention. And it was true to the spirit of it, and it was written well, and it didn't have agenda. And so, well, except for the military, obviously.
The agenda was what the original agenda was, which was the military. But
yes.
So, but it's very true to the franchise. That's the thing, is like the level of respect, the vision with the spirit of the franchise. The new stuff has none of this with any of our favorite IPs. Like my final point to that with it needs to fully die, right? But so I love Halo. It was like a big part of my high school career, right? I love that. Like the Covenant, like the whole thing is just like it captures your imagination very strongly. And they have completely destroyed that, probably worse than many of the other things. I'd say Lord of the Rings probably got the worst treatment, but like Halo's pretty bad, like betraying core tenets of the whole series. But I must admit that if somebody else, it doesn't even have to fully die, because that was such a butchering. It was just a clear, fragrant, like a graffiti vandalism of Halo, that if somebody incredibly based and powerful, like got their hands on Halo, and their declaration, their mission statement was, we're going to freaking bring back the spirit of Halo, I would be all over that. I would support it. And if they were honest, I would. because these things are ingrained with us, and we can still like just because an evil entity co-ops these things and corrupts the IPs that we love, it doesn't mean we can't identify with that Master Chief that we grew up with, or the Luke Skywalker.
Well, there you go. I mean, Mandalorian 2, season 2 finale showed that, you know, they could do Luke Skywalker right.
Yes.
But then right on the heels of that, Kathleen Kennedy made sure that she shit all over everything once again and destroyed everything that happened. And so as long as she's there, and she's going to retire from there. Okay. She's probably going to die in the office. They're not going to fire her, you know, and as long as she can torture people and drag George's legacy through the dirt, she's going to, you know.
It reminds me of like Caligula and other decadent, like just very, you know, just like, you know.
Yeah, I think she's got a bathtub full of maiden's blood somewhere.
Something like that. She's one press conference away from just saying, "Let them eat cake," which they have basically said in one way or another.
She said it.
Yeah.
You know, let the past die. Kill it if you have to. She literally said that.
Yeah. Let them eat cake.
Then she had the character say it.
Yep. And they keep having them say it in one way or another, and they just keep rehashing. Yeah.
Let the past die. Let the past die. Let the past fan die, basically. I see creators all around us making the best art and so underrated. Makes my head spin. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, and somebody said, did you seen the Mandela Stenberg's dad? Yeah, he's a white Jewish guy. And he's a millionaire. So,
wow. Like,
white Jewish guy. So she's not even full black. So
yeah.
You know.
And I guarantee she goes around. I mean,
you know how it is. It's like Colin Kaepernick syndrome. I got to be more ghetto than everybody else.
Well,
you know,
I don't know if you know this. I should say something because this is actually very topical and very relevant. If you have people trying to gaslight you, people who are both, like, for starters, we're all mixed race. Okay, let's be real. There's a certain percentage of people who have Neanderthal.
Except for me, I'm as white as they come. I mean,
except maybe
at all. I don't tan at all. So.
My wife is as Nordic as they come. I'm telling you, blonde hair, blue eyes with freckles, like it's as Nordic as they come. We found out she's only 50%. Okay, and she's actually very person of color. Actually, she has several people of color in her bloodline. So my whole point is, you ever have some people coming across saying, "Oh, that actor is actually black," or "That actor is actually white," or "They don't count because they're only so blah blah blah." No, they're mixed race, or they're nothing. They're mixed race, or you're a racist. That's basically what it comes down to. Because if you say all black, what you're saying is you don't want the white bloodline tainted. And if you're saying they're all white, you don't want the black bloodline tainted with the white blood, right?
Well, we all know who's going to be cast in the next thing. It's either Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaac, or Jason Momoa.
Androgynous races.
Yep.
That's actually, that's actually fair, to be honest, because anybody can identify with that.
Right.
Yeah. But that's my whole point, though, is like it's actually a core tenet of like supremacy. Insert any supremacy there. They're gonna say they're all not mixed. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right.
Don't let anybody do that.
No. Well, basically, what I'm saying about Mando season 2 is like the finale.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much talking about the finale. The rest of it, I don't watch again, but I do watch that finale from time to time. With Luke, because they got Luke right. That one moment, cool. They got Luke right.
Pretty freaking cool. Yeah, I was watching it live, I believe. So
don't even joke about that shit, man. Don't even joke about that shit.
Oh, Kennedy, yeah.
Maiden's blood. Where do you even get that these days? Oh, it's Hollywood. Trust me.
And it's Disney. They figured it out. They got Disneyland and tons of tunnels under there. They figured it out, I'm sure. With the weird
please.
furries walking around.
Why did they think they buried Sound of Freedom for 5 years?
Yeah, they totally
Why
buried
do you think
that.
Disney buried that movie for 5 years?
Specifically Disney. How freaking
Disney.
weird is that, dude? That's so creepy, dude. That's so freaking weird and creepy.
Well, I tell you the irony is this is pretty quick. The people who put out that movie was Angel Studios. Okay, Angel Studios. Basically, Disney tried to sue them out of existence because they tried to monitor content. They put an application in to monitor content, and Disney tried to sue them out of existence. And Disney had like a stacked deck, right? But But when Disney got so broke that they couldn't continue suing them, and so they finally settled. But they settled for a fraction of what they were asking for. And Angel Studios was managed to survive. Angel Studios basically puts out the Sound of Freedom, which was set in their vaults for 5 years because they had a fire sale of 20th Century Fox stuff to try to fund some of the stuff they were buying. And Angel Studios put it out, and on 4th of July weekend a year ago, it beat Indiana Jones 5 at the box office.
Isn't that poetic, dude? And then the very
they say there's not a god. That's a god thing right there,
bro. That's divine intervention. Angel Studios, the big man looking out for. So and the very premise of Indiana Jones was like the geriatric indie. You know, we know that we know the actor doesn't even want to be in any movies these days, but they just threw so much money at him until he freaking did it. You can tell he's grouchy in the movie. The chick is just bossing him around all the time. The chick is also insufferable outside of the movie in interviews. Very opinionated and
she's
disgusting about it.
She's definitely, She is KK's like a life or doppelganger.
Not to mention, did you notice that Indiana Jones betrayed his values in that he wanted to stay in the past and actually destroy history by doing that? And that wasn't it the Nazis who were like trying to stop them. So the Nazis kind of became the good guys by the end, which is weird and like telling. It's like weird and telling, you know.
And she knocked him out and drug him back to the future. So she's the real hero there, you know. Even though she the whole entire way she got all his friends killed, everybody that they ran across. You know, at the end of it, you know, she's whatever.
Just iconic that moment. Like, yeah, you're right. Divine intervention, dude. Like,
yep. Glad to see. Okay, so these are people greeting each other. No big deal. Anyway, certainly not white. I'm pale blue. It takes a week of sunbathing to turn me to white. He's Scottish. He's
pale blue. I dig it. Like
Woad,
my friend. I'm Welsh. Celtic. Let's go.
There you go.
Bust out the woad. Let's take out the mainstream. Or
cinema. Went to see Sound of Freedom. I have it on DVD. I have yet been able to watch it. I can't bring myself to watch it.
If you take breaks, it works. If you take little breaks,
that's what I need to do. It's kind of like I finally, you know, it took me over a year, but I finally watched all of Passion of the Christ. I couldn't make it. You know, I kept having to just stop it, walk away, and go back to it.
And some people say Mel Gibson's not a good storyteller. Like, that's just undeniable proof right there. That one movie. So
that's powerful. That was
Braveheart,
and it's a very similar story to The Sound of Freedom. That's why he got canceled. He went around the studio system and went straight to like churches to fund it, and then he found a distributor on his own, and he got 100% of the money that came back in it.
Unbeholden to Hollywood. That's why.
Unbeholden to Hollywood, and they made him pay for it. They canceled the shit out.
You know what the etymology of Hollywood is? The Hollywood branch was used by pagans to cast spells, allegedly. So you need to have a Hollywood branch in order to channel magic. Was the original thing. So that's just one. That's just the one tip of one iceberg in all the demonic symbolism in Hollywood. It just keeps going.
Well, one thing about Jim Caviezel, though, if you ever see Person of Interest,
I haven't, no, but I heard Jim Caviezel.
The series of Person of Interest is every bit. It's the best series of any of them. I mean, it might be the best series of all time. It's just incredible. But he's a movie star. If he hadn't stuck to his guns, he would have been a huge movie star. I mean, no doubt in my mind. Only seen clips of Passion of the Christ. I would watch it, but I would watch it in small doses. I can't handle it.
And on the note of Sound of Freedom, I don't want to turn anybody off from it. What we mean by like you can't get through it is it's just like it's emotional. It's not like they don't show anything. Actually, you can trust this. You can trust Angel Studios as like a very open. Yeah,
it's not. It's not like it doesn't have anything blatant, but you see the reaction and you know what's going on.
The implication. Any normal human being would have a hard time. So
Jim
I mean,
Caviezel, to tell you what an incredible person he is, he actually watched the tapes that he was supposedly watching. He actually watched those tapes.
Yeah.
Just so he'd get a realistic reaction.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to see it. I said, you need to put these on.
It's like, brother, the audio probably would have been enough. I'm sorry. Like not even just knowing they exist and like just hearing the story is enough. You know, I don't know.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, it's a great film, but not one you watch to enjoy. No. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically, we're also here to, I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to talk about your comic. The link is in the chat. It's pinned. It's also in the description. It is, what is the name of it, my friend?
A Saga of Sunsets.
Saga of Sunsets. Now, the artist you guys may have heard of, he's going to be on my show this Thursday. He's a gentleman by the name of Luke Stone. We're going to talk about hybrids, but we may mention, Saga of Sunsets.
That'd be cool.
It is currently on Fund My Comic. So give us your pitch, my friend.
So it's a story of fatherhood and ambition. Fans of traditional fantasy like tabletop, bust out your D20 kind of fantasy will probably love this. It's grounded in like realism, right? My magic is tied to objects because every fantasy needs a good magic system, right? Very simple to understand. It's tied to objects, and you can draw conclusions from there. I haven't de-shrouded it completely in my writing, but there you go. And it follows an orc jarl, so Viking themes, orcs and Vikings. It follows an orc jarl, his sons, and his little entourage around the king on their journey across the endless water, I call it, the ocean. And essentially, the king is trying to die peacefully in a faraway summer land. Because my orcs they're winterized orcs. They're they're hairy. They live in the Arctic. They just
kind of like a Yeti.
Yeah, they're gray.
Frost giants.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah. It's evoking a lot of that stuff. Even though I have my own like giants separate,
right?
Which I haven't even gotten into the giants yet. I'm gonna have so much fun.
Right.
But yeah, I try to take all the typical things we love about fantasy and ground it in a realistic setting within my world, right?
Oh, okay, right.
And it allows me to like examine a lot of subjects. Like I realize this particular story is like a lot of my insecurities as a father coming out, and it's just like a whole travelogue and a parade of characters that all happen to be like different aspects of like who you could be as a parent, and like different routes, different eventualities that could happen along the way as a result of the choices that you've made. But at the end of the day, I didn't know any of that as I was writing it. It was very much like a train of thought thing. It wasn't. It's like not like I was planning to be like, oh, I'm gonna freaking write this. Right. But that's kind of what it came out as, and I'm really proud of it.
Well, I consider stories pre-existing artifacts that you discover. So
yes.
I let the story be what it's going to be, and I don't try to like. That's one of the reasons why mainstream sucks right now. It's because they try to shape everything. They don't let the story be what it's going to be.
Exactly.
And that's the only way. And so obviously you were having like thoughts about fatherhood and things like that, and that's why it kind of came out as,
Yeah, I'm a new dad. My son's 2. So when I was at the time of writing like my novel, which is where a lot of the world building of my actual world of RK came from, was in the process of writing the novel. I came off the back of that and was able to fire off this short story, which adapted into a comic, published in Anvil magazine, found Luke Stone, all that.
Wow.
And now here it is. And it's like a one-stop shop, right? I know, because like I'm a writer, and even though I'm a comic book creator now, I know I'm actually more of a jack of all trades. So I think as I do comics, they're all going to be one and done kind of graphic novels, right? So you're going to get
writer doesn't necessarily talk about one discipline, right? Having that creative ability and being able to put words together makes you a writer. It doesn't matter what venue that or how that like gets reflected. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because like then the script.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're a comic book creator if you're. I mean, you're a comic book writer if you only
Right.
make comics and then write. But I digress. I view a comic book creator as like an artist who can make comics that
Yeah.
just decides to write his own comic. That's kind of like
That's the medium that you've chosen for that. Yeah.
So yeah, I would like all my stuff to be kind of one and done. This story is like it has an end. It's based off of a short story. I adapted it, so there's a core concept, a strong core premise to it with an ending to it. Everything is intentional. It's it carries itself forward. The plot is going somewhere. You don't have to worry about the sequel after.
Right.
There's no cliffhangers. The story's gonna end. And then more importantly, like why else should anybody care? Well, it's not just a random one-off story within my world. What it is it's an actual legend within my world. This is going to be a major figure within the world of Ark. Like every orc after the fact knows the name of the protagonist after these events. So these are the types of comics I think I'm going to be putting out as like legends. And it's going to be graphic novels.
There's a place for that. Like I said, I've got a Kingdom of Shadows, the adaptation of the Robert E. Howard first story of Cole the Conqueror, and it's adapted by the Arrow Comics. Randy Zimmerman and Russ Leach was the artist, and I'm going to review that next Thursday when I talk to Luke Stone. But basically, Fund My Comic is the best little comic book shop on the net. So while you're checking out a Saga of Sunsets, make sure that you see what else is out there, and you will be very very delightfully surprised. There's a lot more on that website, including my comic, which is still in production but still being funded, and community service preambles. It's just check it out. It's right there. But yeah, so the thing about today, I would say to put a kind of conclusion on things, it's not said with glee. None of this is said with glee. Okay, if the mainstream wasn't so like up its own butt right now and in such bad shape and basically not owning any of it, which is the only way that you can turn stuff around is when you realize that there's a problem. And they don't acknowledge. Not only do they acknowledge that there's no problem, but that you're the problem. So I don't see them turning around anytime soon.
Right.
And the people who are in charge of it don't care about financial success. They don't care about culture. They only care about cultural impact and
mind control.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's coming back anytime soon. Maybe someday down the road after it's died out, somebody might bring it back and revive it later on. And if that happens, but for right now, we just gotta say bye. All right.
Right. We're seeing this unprecedented age of decadence, incest, corruption, and I mean just overall. It's a coup. It's a coup of our culture. To be honest. So
it is.
This is a period of major decentralization. We saw it. Like I think Napster was like one of the first steps. Like the internet and Napster. The music was decentralized. Musicians should have a little bit of musicians are slightly more ahead on this regard because like of the Napster thing and like they've been decentralized for a while. But the unfortunate thing in that regard is they've kind of got a nice iron grip on music as far as the culture goes. So that's that. The question's not even there. That's not even like there has to be some sort of other awakening. And I think a major decentralization of everything would actually include the music. That would include music, comics, books, movies. You see things like if you lower the cost of everything, then you can lower the barrier of entry. So like I know a lot of people are staunchly anti-AI, which I 100% understand. But the idea of having like AI video It allows people, it allows small creators in indie to have access to CGI. Like even if you just need a little filler transition scene in your like Western or your horror movie, or just it's the one scene where the monster is seen.
Right.
You can have it just AI and do it cleverly enough or whatever. It allows people to do it, right? So I mean, as evil as some of this stuff is, they're also important tools. We need to decentralize everything. That's actually freedom at the end of the day. Go buy your friend's book. Go see your friend's movie instead of these people that hate you. And if you're going to watch these people that hate you, do it on a third-party platform where their numbers don't count for shit. Okay, that's my advice. That's what.
And at the same time, you know, to all of you guys that are pushing the decline of pop culture and making that your whole entire, you know, impetus, I would heavily encourage you to start thinking about getting a long view, because the bubble's about to burst. This is all about to go away, and you can't make that your entire model. That's about like you know, being an orchestra musician and deciding that your whole entire career is going to be on the, you know, playing for the Titanic.
Yeah.
So
there will be some survivors, but
so
that
look
shit's going
around.
Down. That shit's going down.
Look around, guys. There is stuff being made right now that is going to be what's next, and and just, you know, there are other people out there besides, you know, like him or hate him, you know, Ripa's pretty big right now, and so is EVS.
Yeah.
But between the two monoliths of, you know, the kaiju fighting it out in downtown, there's a whole bunch of other people that are, you know, avoiding all the falling shrapnel that have some really incredible things
I think
offer. So,
you know, since I've talked to a few people, I'm just gonna say this: to Ripa and EVS, I'd like you guys to just sit down, smoke a blunt, do whatever you gotta do, have a shot, just chill for a minute, guys, because like we need to decentralize, and I know that's not always bloodless, but we don't want to see mom and dad fighting each other at the kitchen table. We don't want to see that.
No,
we don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, well, thank you for coming tonight, Mr. Pritchard. Check out his comic.
My pleasure.
Click on that link, and thank you all for coming to the fluffiest chat and all of YouTube. And you know, appreciate you coming down the rabbit hole with me this afternoon.
Oh, yeah,
hopefully, you said something to inspire, something that's going to help you be encouraged. And you know, what's next is coming. You know, we just need to, you know, say goodbye and start focusing on the future.
Agreed.
And this Thursday, Luke Stone's going to come by the rabbit hole for what's next. We're going to talk about Hybrids, his incredible comic book series. Maybe even talk about what he's doing now, which would be, you know, saga.
Yeah.
And
he'll be busy.
We're going to have a good conversation. That's going to be Thursday. That's going to be around 5:00. And I hope to see you guys there. And we'll see you next time, Mr. Pritchard. You have a very good week.
Hey, you too, brother. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Bye, everybody. Remember, follow the White Rabbit later on. And I need to hit the area.
Thank you.